Hey guys, welcome to episode 6 of my Meaningful Mani series. If you are not familiar with what this series is about, if you are new to my channel, then first of all, welcome. I'm so glad to have you guys over here. So if you don't know, my Meaningful Manis is what I call my awareness series. Every month I find out what that month is in awareness for, and I do a video and I talk about whatever that topic is. I don't talk much about what I'm actually doing on my nails, so if you are curious as to what I'm using, I always have all the details linked in the description box below for you. And I'm going to apologize again, as I always do, if you hear barking or paws pitter-pattering like right now, because I cannot seem to do a voiceover since we got this puppy. I cannot do a voiceover without some kind of dog noise in the background. I swear, some of you love it. I've gotten comments about how you guys love hearing Chloe and Wonder in the background. I'm gonna actually do like a story time video soon and introduce you guys to them, because they have been really making an appearance lately in the background noise of my videos. Okay, so back to the Meaningful Mani. May, if you did not know, May is Mental Health Awareness. So I want you guys to do this. I know for some people, talking about their mental health issues, whether it be anxiety, depression, chronic panic attacks, whatever it may be. I know for some people, they either find it embarrassing or maybe they're just shy and don't want to talk about it. I will say the thing I love the most and was not expecting when I started this series was I always come back to the comments a couple hours or a day or two later, and I am always joyfully overwhelmed at how me doing a certain video for a certain topic will encourage you guys to share your stories in the comments. And that is really my favorite part, and I think it is so inspiring and so motivational that some of you guys can really open up and, in a sense, share your stories with our little side of the YouTube world, because you never know if what you have to say is going to really help someone else. So with that being said, 1 in 5 people in the US have some kind of mental health issue or illness. So if you don't want to share your story in the comments, that is completely fine. But I want you to comment in the comment section. Just say, I am 1 in 5. Just comment that in the comment section if you don't want to share your story, because I think even being brave enough to just write that, I think that says a lot. And if you want to do a mental health awareness video, Mani, get your words, Julie. If you want to do a mental health awareness Mani, I think we should all use the hashtag when we post them on Instagram and say hashtag I'm 1 in 5, because I think that says a lot. So I didn't do really any research for this one, because I thought that I would just share my story, and mine is anxiety and depression. So if this is something that is going to be triggering for you, I do not mind if you skip this one. I will not ever mind if you skip really any of my videos. I do them every month, so feel free to come back next month for that one. So I'm going to get started with my story. So I'm going to start by saying I was born in the 80s. You didn't hear, at least around where I lived at, you didn't hear people talk about anxiety or depression or any of those type of issues. If people had it, you didn't know because they didn't talk about it. So for me, when it hit me was, I'd say probably like 6 months after we went to one of my husband's doctor's appointments, and they told him that, you know, his kidney function was starting to decline and that he would need to start the process to get back on the transplant list once again, and that if it got worse and he didn't get, you know, a transplant within like a year or so, he would have to, you know, start considering dialysis and those types of options. And it wasn't until one night he went to work, and because he worked like swing shifts, so every week he was at work a different time. It was one of those weeks he was working overnight, and all of a sudden I was laying in bed. I was trying to go to sleep, and my mind just started racing, going crazy. My heart started racing. I started getting really sweaty, kind of dizzy. I thought maybe I needed to eat something. But long story short, I did not sleep at all that night, and it continued. It was weird at first because it would only happen, I would only get these episodes during that third week of the month when he was working night shift. So it was almost like I was mentally so worried about something happening to him while he was at work and while I would be asleep, and whether I'd wake up to hear anything about it. Because, you know, when you get news like that, you know, a loved one needing a transplant or dialysis, or, you know, maybe a cancer diagnosis or something like that, it kind of hits you like a ton of bricks. It really can be, you know, devastating when it's unexpected and out of the blue. You know, you go for a routine doctor's appointment when for the past 13 years everything has been fine. So it was just kind of one of those situations, and it would only happen, you know, those nights while he was at work. And then I'd say probably 4 or 5 months later, I started having it during the day. I had no idea what anxiety was. I literally got to the point where I started making doctor's appointments. I thought I had something physically wrong with me, to be honest with you. I thought I had a heart issue going on. I went to my doctors. They checked me out, said everything, you know, with my heart was fine, my lungs were fine, did a full physical, blood work, said everything was fine. And it wasn't until one day I was over one of my friends' houses, and I was like, I need to go home. Like, I scared the shit out of all of them there, because we were just in the middle of, you know, hanging out. We were doing like a cookout type of thing. And the whole time I was there, I was just kind of faking it, you know, pretending to have a good time. But really, it was just such an overwhelming feeling. I thought I was having a heart attack, so much to the point where when I got home, like, I called my stepmom and I was like, you need to take me to the hospital. Like, my heart was racing so bad. My mouth was incredibly dry. It was ridiculous. I was dizzy. Oh, the dizziness was the worst. So, bottom line, I went to the doctor. They hooked me up to a heart monitor because when they checked me out, my heart rate and blood pressure was ridiculous. But it was from the anxiety. And they told me, you know, at the hospital that my symptoms resembled, you know, anxiety symptoms. They gave me a prescription, you know, anxiety meds, and that helped. And that was kind of when I realized that it was anxiety. But it was just so crazy to me that I really thought I had something physically wrong with me. It's crazy how anxiety can mimic those types of, you know, those types of things. And I don't know if anybody else has ever had this issue, if you suffer with anxiety and you've, you know, been placed on medications for them. I ended up going to my doctor because I didn't want to be on, they had me on Xanax at first. And I really didn't know what it was. So I started doing research, and hear dogs panting in the background. And I quickly learned that that was one of those medications that you can become, you know, dependent on, and I did not want that. So I went to my doctor. They put me on kind of like a daily anxiety medication, and it worked great for me for about 6 months. But then after that, I found that the medication actually made my anxiety so much worse. So I don't know if any of you have ever dealt with that. And once I noticed that when I didn't take that medication, I still had the anxiety, but it wasn't quite as bad. So I got off of that, and I have not taken anything for anxiety since then. I kind of just have learned to manage it, kind of figure out what my triggers are. I have found now that actually going outside or going to the gym or something like that, like exercise, has really, really helped my anxiety as of lately. And yes, my doctor did, every time I went and saw her, she would, you know, tell me I should go see a therapist, so I had somebody to talk to about, you know, all my feelings and these issues, and see if we could just get to the root of it and try to help it. But I am very much one of those types of people. I don't like to talk about my feelings. Even like to this, I do now have a therapist, so I did eventually do that. But I've just always been the type where I don't like to talk to people. I almost feel like family and friends. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not big on that, because I don't want like the pity party type of thing. I don't want people to feel sorry for me. But you guys, I'm sure you can imagine how much worse it got when my husband passed away. It was very, very unexpected. You know, I went from being a mom and a wife and caregiver, doing my husband's dialysis treatments, and I felt like I had finally, you know, started to accept that that was what I was doing now. You know, I was doing his dialysis for him 5 times a week, and my stress reliever was doing my nails and doing these videos twice a week. And I kind of just came to terms with that. And then out of nowhere, I went from being a mom and a wife and a caregiver to now being a mom and a dad and a provider and just all the things, just me and Gabe, you know, not a whole lot of help, because I can't, you know, make somebody come live with me and help me. So I mean, it was a lot, and it was overwhelming. It still is. It still can be quite overwhelming. You know, holidays and stuff are hard. But I definitely went through a deep depression when my husband passed away, because it was so out of the blue, like I said. And I got to the point where I had no energy whatsoever. I mean, my husband passed away in February of 2020, and then the shutdown from the pandemic hit literally 3 weeks later. Everything was shut down. So it was just one thing on top of another, and you couldn't really go anywhere to get your mind off of it. And I find if it wasn't for Gabe, I don't think I would have gotten out of bed, if I'm being completely honest. I had just no energy to do anything. I felt mentally drained when I really hadn't done much of anything. So that is when I decided that, you know, I was going to get a therapist, and I was going to talk to someone, because I did not want to continue to be like that. It wasn't me being the best version of myself. I wasn't being the best mom I could be. You know, I tried really damn hard, you know, kind of fake it till you make it type of situation. So yeah, I eventually got a therapist, and she has been fantastic with me. Me and her, I feel like she's almost more of like my friend at this point. Like, I can text her or call her like in the middle of the night if I'm having a hard time and I can't sleep or something like that. Like, she knows how to calm me down. So she has been fantastic. But I know that some people struggle with, you know, taking that route and being kind of okay with talking to someone, because it is hard to open yourself up to a complete stranger. And I know for me, at first, when my husband first got sick, I would tell my doctor, like, I'm not going to go to some therapist that doesn't truly, you know, understand what I'm going through. Like, how can somebody help me who doesn't have these issues? So I think that was kind of my thinking then, kind of like my excuse to not talk to someone. Because in my head I was just kind of like, well, I can get over all this by myself. But it's hard. If you've ever had any kind of anxiety or depression, then you know. But I think the depression is the scariest. I never had any suicidal thoughts or anything like that, but it is, you know, it's consuming. It consumes everything about you, and it's difficult. It's quite difficult. I don't want to, you know, share too much, because I don't want to make it any more sad than it needs to be. Even though I will say I do 8 videos a month, so this is one video out of the month where we get a little bit more serious for a little bit, because it's important to talk about these things. So if you do, you know, if you are willing to even share just a little bit of an anxiety story or a depression story and what kind of helped you through that. I don't think anybody ever like fully gets cured from anxiety. I think you just kind of learn how to manage it and kind of learn what those triggers are. I mean, I've suffered with it for going on 8 years now. It's definitely gotten better thanks to, you know, my therapist, and I go out for a run. I recently put myself on, I don't want to say a diet, a lifestyle change. I'm trying to get healthier, because when I was going through the depression, all I wanted to do was eat. I am very much the kind of person, like I said, I don't talk about my feelings, but I will eat them. And I ate all of them. So now I'm kind of to the point where, you know, something needs to change. But I will say, like, a week into this whole kind of 360 of somewhat diet and exercise, I have noticed a huge difference in my anxiety. So if you are willing to share any bits of your story, or just say I am 1 in 5, because you never know if anything that you are brave enough to share, if you could help just one person. And I will be honest with you, I have had my little phone set up and the voice record button just sitting here for a good 40 minutes before I was like, okay, let's do it, and before I hit the record button. So it definitely does take, you know, a lot of courage to talk about these certain subjects. And I think anxiety is hard too, because my experience, because I have a lot of family members who really don't know what true anxiety is, and some of them actually get a little bit mad, because to them they're just like, well, calm down, it's in your head, it's not real. And I feel like unless you have really gone through anxiety, it's hard for you to understand it. Like, I try to explain it to my stepmom and my sister. It really is like you have one person in your head, you know, that's like, oh, you're fine, there's nothing wrong, go about your day. And you have another side that is just saying negative and the complete opposite from that other side of your brain. So in a way, you are kind of like mentally battling yourself, is the best way that I can explain it. It's like the whole good versus evil type of thing. So that is a little bit of my story. I want to try to keep it down to the length of this video. I know this video is a little bit longer. My Meaningful Manny videos do tend to be a little bit longer. So I urge you all to do some kind of mental health Manny. I know it's a little late in the month. But a lot of you do your nails like once a week. The color for mental health is green. The scrub ombre I did around my nails is a green, but I think it mixed with the pearlescent, or just being over top of the pearlescent, kind of gave it more of a yellow tone to it. But I am now, I've already done all my nails. I activated them, I buffed and filed. I put on my sticky base coat. That is what I like to use now that I don't use gel to do my stamps or really any designs. So I'm going to stamp on my designs. I just wanted to do some really kind of uplifting and empowering words for this one, because this is kind of what helps me. Like, I have a shirt that says breathe. I have a pillow on my bed that says breathe. And for me, that is something that helps my anxiety when I feel it kind of starting to, I can feel it coming. Like, if you have anxiety, you can feel it coming on. But for me, taking those real deep breaths do kind of help me. So I'm going to let you guys watch as I finish up my designs, and I will be right back. Alright, so I know that this is the first time I'm doing a scrub halo ombre, I believe is what it's called. So I just wanted to let you know, I did realize that since this is the first time I've done one on my channel, that some of you are probably going to want, you know, to see and hear a little detailed tutorial. So if you can't tell, I did a halo scrub ombre on my left hand with some triple D colors, and I did film it, so you guys will see that on Tuesday. So make sure your notifications are on. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing so you don't miss that upload, so you can see and hear how to do the scrub ombre. So I am going to top coat my nails off camera just to save a couple minutes, so I will be right back. Alright, so I got my dip top coat all done. It is fully dry, and now I'm just going to finish up my mani the way I do all my other manis, with some Candy Skincare cuticle oil. This scent I am using is the Bee Citrus, I believe it's called. It was one of the monthly subscription scents, so if you did not know, Candy Skincare does do a monthly cuticle care subscription, which I love. So you guys will have to let me know what you think of this mani. Hopefully you get kind of mental health vibes from it. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching this long video of mine. Like I said before, comment down below if you are 1 in 5. Thanks again for watching, and I will catch you all in my next one. Bye guys.